The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shades thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, you guys. It is Friday, Jesse. It's finally Friday.
Friday in the new year.
Yeah. 2026.
Let's go.
Bro, can you believe it? We made it to 2026.
I can't believe it, actually.
So insane. So insane. Well, today is it's National Cream Puff Day, Jesse, for all those cream puffs out there.
Get your mind out of the gutters, folks.
Just saying, Jesse, just saying. You know, it just is what it is.
Maybe
Jesse.
it's me. Maybe it's me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, all those little cream puffies, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I find it interesting that it's on the second day of the year, National Cream Puff Day.
I wonder why that is. I guess it's something to do with the new year, huh?
Well, I know some of these other twos, some of these other ones definitely have something to do with the new year, because today is also National Personal Trainer Awareness Day.
Oh yeah, that's definitely get your New Year's resolutions in. Hire your personal trainer and get to work.
Yeah, hurry up and fail on your New Year's resolution. Basically, is what that means.
Or don't. That's the point of getting a trainer, right?
Well, no, because people, they and I've talked to numerous trainers about this. They stay in it till like mid-February, sometimes March, but after that they fall off.
Yeah, most people do.
They can't keep up with the what I'm saying, with the progress on themselves, Jesse.
I get it.
Dr. T, good morning.
Morning, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy. Did you know, Dr. T, that today is National Cream Puff Day?
No, I didn't.
It's also National Science Fiction Day.
I like chocolate eclairs better.
Fair.
I'm with you on that, Dr. T.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But what about National Science Fiction Day today?
Yeah, I used to like Ray Bradbury. I used to read a lot of Ray Bradbury.
Okay.
But I'm mostly reading just science these days without the fiction.
I feel like all of the science fiction has all actually turned into reality now.
With AI, you mean? Are we in the age of
all of that, bro? All of it. I mean, there's so many ways to touch on it, but I just feel like we are definitely living in a very, very, very unique time. And and Jesse, I do have one more for you, Jesse, today. You're gonna love this.
All right.
And this is definitely, you know what I mean. Today is a National Buffet Day.
Well, with the cream puffs and buffets, you're not getting off to a very good start.
You're not, bro. You're not.
With your health resolutions.
Maybe if you go to Soup Plantation, maybe possibly. You know what I mean? But if you're going to Sizzler, you know what I'm saying? You're getting fattened up.
Or a Golden Corral, yeah. That's.
Oh man, love me some Golden Corral. Is Golden Corral really a buffet though?
Isn't it? Isn't it just endless food? You can just keep
you know
going
what?
back.
You know what? I'm thinking of Cracker Barrel. Sorry, I'm thinking of Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Golden Corral is a giant buffet.
It is. It
has everything.
Yep. Oh man, and thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. Is also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet, and we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website, www.high9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from whatever platform you're choosing to join us from. And man, I got a whole bunch of studies for you, Dr. T, today.
All right.
I hope you enjoy all of this, because they say that cannabinoids show selective antibacterial effects against common dental pathogens. Get ready, Dr. T, for CBD toothpaste and mouthwash, because a new study published by the Internal Journal of Molecular Sciences reports that several cannabinoids may have antibacterial activity against specific bacteria, commonly linked to persistent endotonic infections. Researchers from the University of Detroit Mercy evaluated the antibacterial properties of CBD, cannabidiol, cannabinol, CBN, and THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, against 3 pathogens frequently associated with failed root canal treatments: Enterococcus facilis, Streptococcus mutans, and Fusobacterium nucleatum. These bacteria are known for their ability to survive conventional interactional medicaments and contribute to ongoing infection. Interesting. To assess the effectiveness, the team exposed platonic forms of each bacterium to cannabinoids and compared the results with standard controls, including sodium hypochlorite, and the study also measured minimum inhibitory concentrations of minimum bactericidal concentrations. Concentrations, while additional experiments evaluated cannabinoid effects on established bacterial biofilms using crystal violet assays and live dead staining. All 3 cannabinoids reached inhibitory concentrations against platonic E, facales, and S mutants. A bactericidal concentration was identified for E. facilis, and though none of the cannabinoids fully eliminated S mutants, under the conditions tested in biofilm experiments, increasing cannabinoid concentrations reduced bacterial viability in both E. fascials and S mutants. However, measurable biofilm degradation was observed only in E. fascials. In contrast, Fusobacterium nucleatum showed no inhibitory response to CBD, CBN, or THC at any tested concentration, highlighting a clear pathogen-specific response. According to the researchers, this selectivity suggests cannabinoids may interact directly with bacterial cell structures or metabolic pathways depending on the species. And the findings also indicate that cannabinoids may have potential as an adjacent antibacterial agents in dental care, particularly against pathogens known to persist in endotonic infections. And the authors note that further research, including clinical studies, would be required to determine whether these laboratory results could translate into practical therapeutic applications. Look at that. And there was a whole bunch of propaganda stories talking about how bad smoking is for your mouth. smoking cannabis. And look, and these people, if you smoke THC and CBD, it sounds like you're actually preventing against infections. So I wonder, there's a lot of contradictory evidence going out there.
They didn't say smoke, did they? They said just CBD, right?
I'm just saying, but that's how you get it, Dr. T. You get it. We need all the smoke.
They're putting it in your toothpaste.
Yeah.
You're brushing with it.
I'm down with that. Put it in my toothpaste. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm all the way with that. I can totally, but the thing is if they did that, Dr. T, it could only be sold at a dispensary. And now all of a sudden,
there are a couple of CBD toothpastes out there, although they're kind of expensive. I'm looking at one that's about $30.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But they're out there. They've been heading there. Looks like Colgate's got a whole page on CBD toothpaste and CBD mouthwash.
No way.
So Colgate's already going down that. Yeah, no, I talked about this with a good friend who's in the dental business this past summer, and they've been looking at it for a while. I think the problem is logistically or legally, they're slow to adopt. These are large companies that are concerned about the loss. But with Trump's new executive order, this might bring more of these products forward.
Schedule 3, all of a sudden, man, you're gonna get a prescription for Colgate. All of a sudden, THC brand.
Yeah, I just don't know how many people want to spend $30 on a tube of toothpaste.
Well, if that's only CBD for $30, you know what I mean? The THC is going to be at least 60. And in all fairness, a tube of toothpaste is going to last you a lot longer than an eighth of weed.
Yes,
just saying.
That's true.
In comparison.
And if you have chronic halitosis, hey.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there,
problems.
Jesse. I see what you did there. That was cute. That was cute, Jesse.
Or gingivitis, I think it's good stuff. It does. CBD has antibacterial effects. So
It's very, 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 very interesting.
CBD needs to be put in the water. It's a great.
Yeah.
And maybe,
especially in Flint,
Michigan.
Yeah, they need some CBD water out there. Clean it up.
They do have CBD water.
Yeah.
Somebody did CBD water, I thought.
Oh, there's plenty of companies that do CBD water, but no one really buys that shit.
They got to bring the price point down.
Well, I think what Dr. T is alluding to is that all in these, different municipality reservoirs, they need to be adding CBD into the general water supply is what Dr. T is alluding to.
Well, we've got enough Prozac in our water supply.
Oh, man, you don't want to get me started on that, Dr. T. On that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back.
It looks like Colgate's got something with hemp seed oil, so I think they're just trying to capitalize.
That's just. I mean, hemp seed oil. That's just that's all. That's China product right there.
Yeah.
So, well, I think you will find this one very, very interesting because I think a lot of people with all the celebrations and whatnot, a lot of people got headaches and a lot of people had to listen to all their relatives over the holiday season that they don't want to have to listen to. So I think a lot of people had headaches, Dr. T, over this last week. What do you think?
I just maybe I haven't heard from my patients that they do, but a lot of them are using cannabis, so they're managing their headaches. Are you talking about the migraine headaches from THC? That's an interesting story.
Well, Dr. T, I think you may be hitting on a little something right there because I think the stock price in Tylenol might have gone up over the holiday season because of all these headaches. But nonetheless, there was a clinical trial and it finds that THC and CBD combination far more effective than placebo for treating acute migraine. Well, in all fairness, Dr. T, of course it's more effective because placebo is just telling people that they're getting something that they're not. So, of course, it's kind of, you know what I'm saying, kind of whatever. But whatever. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. A randomized clinical trial published in the Journal of Headache. There's a Journal of Headaches. Finds that a combination of THC and CBD was significantly more effective than placebo for relieving acute migraine pain, offering some of the strongest clinical evidence to date supporting marijuana-based treatments for migraine attacks. The study was conducted by researchers from the University of California, San Diego Health System and enrolled 92 adults diagnosed with migraines. Participants treated up to 4 separate migraine attacks using vaporized cannabis flower and a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled crossover design. Each participant used 4 formulations across different attacks: THC-dominant marijuana containing 6% delta-9 THC, CBD-dominant marijuana containing 11% CBD, and a combined formulation containing both 6% THC and 11% CBD, and a placebo cannabis flower, which they just called hemp. Each treatment was separated by a washout period of at least 1 week. Across 247 treated migraine attacks, the THC and CBD combination produced significantly better outcomes than the placebo, and at the 2-hour mark following vaporization, 67.2% of attacks treated with the combined formulation achieved pain relief, compared with 46.6% in the placebo group. Pain freedom was also more common with the combination treatment, reported in 34.5% of attacks versus 15.5% with placebo. Participants were also more likely to experience freedom from their most bothersome migraine symptoms, such as nausea, light sensitivity, or sound sensitivity. The THC-dominant formulation alone improved pain relief but did not significantly outperform placebo for complete pain freedom or relief of the most bothersome symptoms, and the CBD-dominant formulation did not show a meaningful benefit compared with placebo on any of the primary or secondary endpoints. And notably, the benefits of the THC and CBD combination extended beyond the initial 2-hour window, with sustained pain relief and symptom reduction reported at 24 and 48 hours. No serious adverse events were observed, suggesting the treatment was generally well tolerated. And researchers concluded that vaporized marijuana containing both THC and CBD may offer a viable acute treatment option for migraines, marking an important step forward in clinical migraine research involving cannabinoids. Well, look at that. Looks like going out for your little smoke break on the holidays will cure your holiday blues and alleviate your headaches from all of your nagging relatives. What do you guys have to say about this?
Well, a lot of my patients who use cannabis report that it reduces the incidence of migraine headaches. Although I did have a patient the other day that said it made his migraines worse. So it really just depends on the person. It's nothing new from us. But this study is just it's not well conducted because.
Why is that?
Because they used a placebo, but they unblinded it. You can't use a placebo with cannabis because you always know which ones have the THC in it. And so that unblinds the study, which is why we propose real world evidence rather than these blinded, these attempts at traditional clinical trials.
Hold on, Dr. T. You're telling me that people can tell the difference between flower that's vaporized with THC and flower that's vaporized that has no THC?
Yeah.
People can tell the difference.
I mean, can't you?
Of course I can. Of course I can. But we're just talking about people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason Beck is not a people.
No. I'm far above average people. Yeah.
I also, this is interesting because it's about acute treatment, Dr. T. So treating a migraine the moment of is very difficult. And we know that, cannabis can, for certain people, help. As you noted, your patients do report having help. And some clearly, because it's a switching system with the endocannabinoid system, some people those switches will make it worse. And I can't wait to see research behind that switching system and why for some people it makes it worse and for some people it seems to help. I do wish that there was more science around non-acute treatment. So preventative treatment, especially with raw cannabis, THCA and CBDA, because I've heard anecdotally that eating raw cannabis prevents migraines from ever even happening, and that people report that. So
interesting.
I'm looking forward to research on preventative treatments with cannabis rather than just the acute treatments.
Interesting. I mean, shout out to OG Grandma 420 in the chat who says Jason has the best placebos anywhere. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
We agree. We don't know if that was a compliment or a diss, but we agree.
I'm taking it as a compliment. You know what I mean? I'm taking all things positive in 2026, Dr. T. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to take a page out of my book and follow along if you like.
I will.
Oh man, I think this is great news, especially for all the people that suffer from, because I've seen a lot of people seriously get, become very unfunctional because of the pain of migraine headaches. They become very depleted and, really can't really be productive in a meaningful way just because they're having to deal with that pain. So if cannabis, you know what I'm saying, I think this is a big deal coming out, this study. I know you want to poo-poo on it, you know what I'm saying, Dr. T, but it's okay. I think it's a good study overall. I personally think
I agree. Just, I'm just pointing out that the investigators need to improve their techniques.
But what if the people really couldn't tell the difference and they used like spray pack non-THC weed, and so there was a higher terpene profile in the placebo base, and so people thought it was actually stronger weed?
I mean, if you create a terpene-based placebo that emulates the THC in the flower, but I haven't ever had that. Have you?
I mean, I think we need to make it. I think we need to make this a study and get some federal funding under Schedule 3 for this, Dr. T.
Sure. Happy to. I don't think any terpene would mimic THC's psychoactive effects.
Oh, it's not meant to mimic its psychoactive effects. It's meant to make people think that it's actually stronger weed because of the stronger terpenes in there. So
yeah, but once you smoke it, when they think it's not a bad idea. Let's try it out.
This is another reason why we need to do some research on this, Dr. T. Exactly for your question right there. I'll tell you what, you do the write-ups and write up all the paperwork, and I'll get it to the right people so we can get the right amount of money. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm with it. And on that, we're going to roll right into Dr. Jean Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where you can get your doctor's recommendation online all the time, 24/7 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on New Year's Day yesterday. And it's the new year, so it's time to re-up on your note. It is none other than Dr. Jean Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason. Happy to be starting 2026 with some positive news here.
Yeah.
Happy Friday to everyone as well. So Madeline Colley and Aaron McAvoy at Cannabis Science and Technology, they posted on their online publication the top medical cannabis stories of 2025. You may agree, you may disagree, but let's see what they say. So these stories that ran over the year focus on topics important to medical cannabis patients. So the first headline is cannabis a solution for the opioid crisis? In January 2025, Dr. Ruth Fisher reviewed evidence demonstrating how cannabis has helped patients reduce their opioid use, potentially decreasing overdose deaths. So there are some who still question whether cannabis directly helps pain, and others who feel it just mitigates symptoms that are associated with chronic pain, like poor sleep or irritable mood. But studies clearly demonstrated less opioid use when cannabis is accessible. However, it wasn't clear who would benefit from cannabis and who would not benefit from the cannabis. It wasn't everyone. But, the cannabis is a personalized thing. So that was the first headline, opioids. If anyone says that cannabis isn't helpful for pain, I think that's the headline to point. And then headline number 2, Kentucky Medical Cannabis Program officially launched. So a medical cannabis program began in Kentucky last year, opening the registry portal for patients and caregivers and enabling the state's medical cannabis program to begin accepting applications. As explained in an overview on the website of the Kentucky Office of Medical Cannabis, Governor Andy Beshear signed Senate Bill 47 on March 31st, 2023. As part of his effort, this reduced Kentucky's reliance on addictive opioids and provided them with relief from severe and chronic pain. But it's taken over 2 years to open the registry portal, and so they finally got that done this year. Headline number 3, study finds U.S. physicians feel underprepared to guide patients on medical cannabis. A study published in May in the journal Medical Cannabis and Cannabinoids examined the perception of medical professionals on their preparedness to discuss medical cannabis with their patients. The research suggested that doctors need more training, specifically clear practice guidelines, education on cannabis products, and more continuing education would improve the confidence of doctors discussing cannabis as medicines. The researchers indicate that it is a necessary step toward improving patient care and reducing cannabis stigma, more education. Story number 4, cognitive improvements witnessed with THC, CBD, cannabis extracts, and dementia patients. So a placebo-controlled study, again, watch out for those placebo-controlled studies in cannabis because they're usually not helpful. In the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that patients suffering from dementia connected to Alzheimer's disease experience improvements with their cognition. After the administration of very low doses of cannabis extract, patients with Alzheimer's disease significantly reduced cognitive loss over a 6-month follow-up period compared to the placebo group. So again, this is a longitudinal study, not as acute. So maybe a little bit better that they can tell the difference and the placebo is not as important. But using THC and CBD products at low dose over 6 months may improve the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease for those who have parents or grandparents out there with Alzheimer's. And then the final story, phase 1 of Texas Compassionate Use Program expansion selection process for medical cannabis licenses is underway. So in December, and I don't know why they picked this one, in December, the Texas Department of Public Safety announced the beginning of phase 1 of the Texas Compassionate Use Program expansion selections process. 9 new businesses have been selected to move forward for an additional due diligence evaluation. Phase 1 consists of 9 conditional licenses, and phase 2 is 3 additional licenses that will begin in April of this year. So the Lone Star State became the 40th state to legalize medical cannabis in June 21, 2025. But the biggest story did not include in the review the executive order signed by Donald Trump. Not sure why they didn't do that. That requests a reschedule of cannabis to Schedule 3. So what was the biggest story for you guys this past year? This is Dr. John Talleyrand with I9 News.
Well, I would guess, Dr. T, I would say that the biggest story overall out of all these is the opioid situation.
Yeah,
I would say that the one that you came out with is number 1, your first story. I'm going to say that is the number 1 story of the year, because the opioid epidemic is still ravaging our communities and our families and whatnot. And cannabis can be a big help in alleviating a lot of that pain, both for the addict and for the families.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely. This should be a home run, and we should all be running toward cannabis for chronic pain rather than opioids for chronic pain. In the end, it will eventually be malpractice if you're not doing that. So
isn't it funny, Dr. T, that you would use the chronic for chronic pain? Just saying.
It's illegal. Puns are illegal in my household, by the
way. Oh man, well, not on Fridays. Not from 9 to 9 to 11.
I was gonna say that's the case only if you're Dr. Dre, not Dr. T.
Yeah, just saying. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, like carrots are good for your eyes. You know what I mean? Avocados are good for women's ovaries. You know what I mean? Like, it's all these things just make sense. Otherwise, maybe they should come up with a different name for cannabis than chronic.
You have to talk to Dr. Dre about that.
I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah. Our Snoop Dogg, doesn't he have investment in the industry? Chronic for the chronic disease.
Exactly. Yes.
I love the pitch line.
And pretty soon they're going to say for your chronic halitosis, just like what Jesse was saying earlier. You know what I mean? There's going to be, CBD, THC infused toothpaste.
Yeah.
With terpene infused for taste. Oh man.
I don't know if you want some skunky aroma on your toothpaste.
I'm so here for that. I'm so here for that. I would be about that life. I would totally do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Pinene toothpaste could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which story do you think was the most important, Jesse?
Oh man, the opioid one is good. I kind of agree with that. I've known many people who their story is, they got in a car accident or something, and then they got prescribed opioids, and they started at a low dose, and that low dose increased to a high dose, and pretty soon they're just taking it a year or two later after they're healed up, and they're still taking it because they're addicted, and they're not even treating pain necessarily anymore. They're just addicted to the drug, and then they use cannabis to replace that and wean themselves off. So that's one just wonderful thing that cannabis can do for people. And we clearly have an overprescription of opioids in our country, and there's no limitation on that or ability to wean off, and doctors aren't good enough at weaning people off once they're on. And it seems like once they sell a prescription, they like to continue to do so if they can.
Well, yeah, they're not financially incentivized to wing them off.
Right. So cannabis, it seems like people become personally aware of that, and then they figure out how to do it. And cannabis is one of the ways that they do that. And seeing studies that show that that's the case, and including the fact that it also treats chronic pain and helps people with chronic pain. Obviously, it doesn't completely remove it or completely solve the problem, but it does help them. So, yeah, that's super important. And then, of course, Dr. T, you nailed it. It's, the executive order telling the DOJ to finish their rulemaking process on Schedule 3 is probably the biggest story.
And we do want to give a special shout out to Dr. Mark, who couldn't be with us today. He's a little sicky today. You know what I'm saying? So we hope he feels better.
He went to Madison Square Garden to see fish and caught the what flu.
He might have caught something else because they swore in Zorin Mondami in as mayor the other day, so they could have caught something else. Never know. I heard there was an outbreak in New York the other day. So now, Dr. T, what I think is probably the least important story out of all the ones that they chose in this article.
Which one?
The Kentucky story.
Oh yeah, I thought you were going to pick the Texas one.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I think the Kentucky one is the least important because that program out there is so flawed and they've so overhyped this whole program. I'm not sure if you're aware, but a few days ago we covered a story of how the main dispensary over there had to actually close down, and it probably isn't going to open until probably March because they don't have any more supply. They have no more supply. Yeah, they have no more supply.
Well, isn't Kentucky the home of hemp and THCA? Maybe they should be
Kentucky is, well, I would say Kentucky is the home of hemp. Yes, because that's where the cornbread mafia started and the whole, you know what I mean, whole big push out there. So yeah, shout out to Kentucky. But I'm surprised the governor, because he was telling patients to go out of state and buy weed and break federal law by bringing it back across state lines, didn't just say, hey, you know what, you dispensaries, you guys can just go out and just purchase in bulk from other suppliers out of state and just bring it on back, and just that way you keep your doors open. I'm surprised he didn't come out and say something like that.
Yeah, let them know that there's plenty of cannabis in the rest of the country and world. They don't have to run out.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of suppliers here in California that could have easily supplied these Kentucky dispensaries. You know what I'm saying, Jesse?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, interstate commerce does not exist yet.
Unless you can just get it there and it magically appears, and who knows, you know what I'm saying, what they have to say.
Oh, in that level, it does exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it exists. Maybe it's not legal, but it exists.
It exists. It definitely exists. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, that was a good roundup of 2025. We did have a lot of good things happen in 2025, and hopefully we have even better things happen in 2026 with the evolution of Schedule 3 getting implemented, because you know it's going to get implemented in January, Dr. T.
What's that?
Schedule 3.
Oh, is there a date? I thought he told her to hurry up.
No, he
followed up and mandated that they try to get it done by the end of January.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a lot to talk about. You know what I'm saying, coming up. But on that, we're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we are gonna be right back. Oh, you are? Well, go ahead, Jesse.
Dr. Mark Chaldone's in the comments.
Yes. He says, happy 2026 to all my high at 9 friends. Much love, Dr. Mark. We hope you feel better, buddy.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
And we're back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And please make sure that you follow us on X and Rumble, because if you ever cannot find us here on YouTube, you will always be able to find us there.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
3 days after or 4, Dr. T? The ketchup.
Yeah.
Yes, and on that, we are going to roll right into Mr. Jesse Barney. He's the founder of Barney Design Co. and can take your brand to the highest plateaus, and it's the perfect time for your brand to experience a rebrand at the start of 2026 when you're getting off to a fresh start. It is none other than the man, Mr. Jesse Barney.
Thank you, Jason, for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate that. My story comes out of Dalton, Georgia this morning, written by Brady Hicks. The headline is Local Health Professionals Open First Medical Cannabis Pharmacy in Dalton. And Dr. T, this is especially for you. I hope that you write down these people's names and get connected with them because it seems like they're doing cool stuff. When local patients in Dalton suffering from conditions ranging from cancer to Parkinson's disease are prescribed medications for their diagnoses, Hannah Jones said those prescriptions can often be sedating, addictive, or cause lots of problems that we all well know. So if you're able to avoid or minimize negative side effects in favor of having a natural approach that's effective, a lot of people really can get behind that and understand the value of that, said Jones in a quote, who has spent almost 19 years as a registered nurse in the community. Jones said one of the tools in the toolbox for certain ailments an individual may be treating can come from medical cannabis. In the summer, Jones partnered with local medical doctor Juan Gonzalez and pharmacist Jason Sneed to open up the first medical cannabis pharmacy in Dalton, known as the Healing Card and Elevated RX at 1507 Professional Court. A local nurse since 2007, Jones said she worked for 10 years at Hamilton Medical Center before stepping away from the full-time nursing gig and opening up a wellness spa inside the mill at Crown Garden called Evolution. We do things like vitamin infusions, peptide therapy, that kind of thing, she said. I started that during the pandemic in 2020. While I was working at Hamilton, I began working with Dr. Juan Gonzalez, who is a local neurologist, and I was running the stroke program as my last job at Hamilton, so that's how we became acquainted. Jones said Gonzalez had shared his interest in cannabis medicine and had prescribed the prescription form of cannabis for some of his patients and wanted us to look into a business model on how to bring this service to Northwest Georgia. At the same time, Jason Sneed was working on the same thing, bringing the cannabis pharmacy to Northwest Georgia through a partnership with Botanical Sciences in Marietta, which they're the provider of the product, she said in a quote. And then we joined forces in June or July. Dr. Gonzalez and I do the Healing Card, which allows people to sign up for a cannabis card with the registry, and that's required to go to the pharmacies to purchase the product. Sneed's pharmacy is called Elevated RX. This article is fairly long. I just wanted to give that as an intro. I actually went and did some research. So Sneed is a licensed pharmacist running a licensed pharmacy and is now prescribing medical cannabis or issuing medical cannabis according to Dr. Gonzalez's prescriptions, and they work in the same office. They're both in there at the same time, so they are each seeing each patient. And what's cool is, as the article goes on to describe, is they're going through a very, very strict process of identifying and diagnosing what the problem is, figuring out which products are likely to be the best solutions. Then they're going through a very regulated way of dosing them. So they're starting with low dose and they're starting with certain products. You might know, and you should know, Georgia does not allow any smokable cannabis. So all of this stuff is oil-based or some kind of extract. And what they talk about as well is that their products are all whole plant extracts. So they're doing some kind of RSO extraction or some kind of FICO oil, and then they're putting this in gummies and in capsules and in various products, also topical products, and they're giving these to patients depending on what their issue is. And Georgia has a list of things that you can get a prescription for: AIDS, Alzheimer's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, autism, cancer, chronic pain, Crohn's disease, epidermolysis. I don't know what that is. Epilepsy and seizures, mitochondrial disease, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, post-traumatic stress disorder, peripheral neuropathy, sickle cell disease, Tourette's syndrome, and hospice patients. And also what's cool is if you're in hospice, you're able to have the person who's administrating your hospice actually take your card and go to the place so that you don't have to go yourself, since a lot of times you're not mobile. So I find this to be interesting because of Schedule 3. I think this kind of business model leans itself to be right in line with where Schedule 3 is likely to go. Having a doctor and a pharmacist and licensed pharmacy all involved in the prescription of medical cannabis. Oh, another thing that they're doing is they're having all of their patients journal all of their effects and all of their feelings and everything that's going along with it. So they're kind of doing like informal studies or creating a knowledge base that they can later do studies with. So this is just leaning right into where I think Schedule 3 is going to go. And I think this is the kind of model that shows where medical cannabis needs to go and what kinds of businesses are going to be sort of insured by the Schedule 3 program. So hopefully this kind of creates, and I know there's a couple other, Dr. T, you might know of some other programs that are similar to this, but I'm not sure there's very many places in the country that have a licensed pharmacist inside of their distribution facility or their, what we call a dispensary. So I think this is really cool and something that needs to happen more and more. And it just leans right into creating research. So Dr. T, I'd love to hear what you have to say and think about this.
Yeah, it's when you go into a dispensary for a particular and looking for a product for a particular ailment, it's nice to have some guidance, not by the kid making $15 an hour who knows how to get high, right? It's a different conversation, and so kudos to this dispensary. I don't know if I would call it a pharmacy, because generally pharmacists and doctors will prescribe FDA approved products, and my guess is none of the products that are cannabis related in this store or dispensary are FDA approved. So that's really what they're missing in the end.
What if they spelled it FARM?
What's that?
What if they spelled it FARM, a C?
Haha.
They can spell
Well, Dr. T, that's what's interesting about this is he is a licensed pharmacist, and apparently he's supplying other prescriptions as well. Mm-hmm. So in that's where it's kind of like they're bridging the gap and like running ahead of where we're at with things and treating it like it is that, right? And preparing for that to be the case, that the FDA is going to give them some kind of ability to do the research and use these things as licensed pharmaceutical products. And the types I went and looked at their products. They seem pretty legit. They're making like really cool broad spectrum plant products that are 1-to-1, really high dose, and then starting with really low dose. So they have this like really wide spectrum of products that are really cool. So it seems like they kind of have an idea of where they're going with this and kind of looking to the future in combining the traditional pharmacy with this potential pharmacy that could be with cannabis. Mm-hmm.
It could be where they're going to run up against issues is the broad spectrum. The FDA is just not good at broad spectrum or full spectrum. They're just not. They have to change their ways of evaluating in order.
Well, and that brings up the executive order, because there's language in the executive order that directs the DOJ and the HHS to consider that fact, which is unprecedented, and to consider that the plant is a whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said the guy's name is Juan Valdez, right?
Juan Gonzalez.
Oh,
Dr. Juan Gonzalez.
Juan Gonzalez. Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was one.
That's the guy who sells coffee.
Yeah, the Colombian coffee guy. I thought it was the Colombian coffee guy for a second.
No, and I definitely, I was like, Dr. T, these are people you should be connected to in some way or another. So it'd be really cool to figure out who they are and connect to them and cross-pollinate, your knowledge base with them. Because there's some stuff in this article, if you read the article, where they clearly are lacking some knowledge. They're in Georgia. So, they're a little bit behind the times, but they're trying and they're thinking ahead of the curve, I think, when it comes to the medical program.
Doesn't Georgia have a restriction on THC too? I think that has a limit restriction or percentage.
It's a very limited marketplace. That it is. It's a very limited.
It is very limited, but their products have high THC. I don't think it seems like from their products, I didn't see any products that are THC only. And they did talk about the fact that a lot of the other dispensaries that exist that are medical based, because it's all a medical program there, they do extracts that are single molecule extracts, just THC or just CBD. And they seem to kind of not be down with that. They're trying to create stuff that is more whole plant based. So that's one of the interesting things that they're doing. They clearly have enough knowledge to know that there's an entourage effect and that whole plant is better than, single molecule extracts. So it's interesting stuff. They seem really cool. And this guy Sneed, who's the pharmacist, is doing something that's very rare in the country. This is a very rare thing.
Yeah.
So more power to them. I hope they need support and they need people like you to connect to them and give more knowledge.
I'm on it. I'll reach out to them. It's potentially the future, like you say, of where we're all going.
Yep.
Well, I think if best case scenario with Schedule 3 is that models like this will be what's given a lot of juice from Schedule 3.
I love models. They're great. Saying.
Not those kind of models, Jason.
Oh, okay. All right. Whatever, Jesse. Whatever. It's rain on my parade. It's Friday. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
That's right.
Oh man, this is we're gonna see. I want to know how far Chris Brady is from this place, and if he's actually gonna go and check this place out, because he's always like, Schedule 3, it's gonna be so great. Oh yeah, I can't wait. Oh, it's gonna be great for us in Georgia and get some access and da 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 da. And so I want to see what he has to say. I want him to go check this place out and see what he has to say about this. But nonetheless, progress is progress, Jesse. Baby steps in some of these marketplaces, while other markets are just taking leaps and bounds and doing somersaults and acrobatics, because you have to be really good at tumbling to stay in cannabis for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying, Dr. T? And on that, we're going to roll into our final commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
And we are back, you guys. We are back. Well, I have 2 more studies for you, Dr. T and Jesse, on this first Friday of 2026. And a study finds CBD selectively, Dr. T, kills cancer cells while sparing the healthy cells. They're taking prisoners and they're taking numbers, Dr. T. A study published by the Internal Journal of Molecular Sciences finds that cannabidiol, CBD, may selectively damage cancer cells while having a more limited effect on non-cancerous cells. The research was conducted by scientists from the University of Autónoma de Nuevo León in Mexico and focused on CBD's cytotoxic effects across several human cell lines. Researchers tested CBD on 3 cancer cell lines: HeLa, cervical cancer, MDA-MB-231, triple negative breast cancer, and CaCO-2, colorectal cancer, alongside 2 non-cancerous control cell lines, HACAT, that is known as human keratinolytics, and UVEC, HUVEC, which is human endothelial cells. As cells were exposed to CBD concentrations of 5, 10, and 20 micromolar over periods ranging from 24 to 96 hours. Using MTT analysis to measure cell viability, the team found that CBD reduced cancer cell survival in a dose and time-dependent manner. The median lethal concentration at 24 hours was calculated at 9.4 micromolar for HeLa cells, HeLa, and 10.3 micromolar for MDA-MB-231 cells, and 4.3 micromolar for CaCO-2 cells, indicating particularly high sensitivity in colorectal cancer cells. Additional analysis using DAPI, better known as DAPI, nuclear staining and flow cytometry showed morphological changes consistent with cell stress, apoptosis, and necrosis in cancer cells following CBD exposure. These changes became more pronounced with longer exposure times, and importantly, the non-cancellous control cells were less affected under the same conditions. The authors conclude that CBD demonstrates selective cytotoxicity toward malignant cells compared to non-malignant cells, and supporting further investigation into its potential role as an adjudicative therapy in cancer treatment. They emphasize that these findings are based on in vitro data and that additional research would be required before any clinical applications could be considered. Well, look at this. It seems like if you throw CBD into a gang war, it's going to know who to fight and who not to fight. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Well, we've known that for a long time, 5, 10 years. We've known that for a while. But, and it's great that they're doing these in vitro studies. And for those who don't know, that means it's in a petri dish. It's not in a live human. We need to move on and put it in the human, especially to find out what the optimal dose is. You see they're measuring dose in micromolar amounts, and they're putting it in a dish. But we need to just give it to the people with colorectal cancer, with triple negative breast cancer. We need to do the live human studies. It's time. Thank you, Mexico. I appreciate contributing more information to what we've known already.
I'm with that. I think this is a great little piece, and you know what I mean.
Well, a big part of science, right, Dr. T, is the duplication of studies. The more studies are duplicated, the better we are. And this is something that's been duplicated so many times.
Yeah.
So there's just proof after proof that cannabinoids are good for healthy cells and somehow attack cancer cells.
Yeah.
Do we know what the mechanism at all is of the attack and why cannabinoids specifically target these cancer cells and kill them?
We don't. I don't know if it's, CBD is a good anti-inflammatory. So maybe it's the cytokines downstream from some CBD's effect on the cytokines in the body that will affect the tumors. but we don't know exactly how it's working. There are probably some models out there though. But yeah, and THC also works, by the way. This is just not CBD on some cancers, so it's both. But we've known it for quite a long time, and particularly glioblastoma, the brain cancer that kids get. We've had data on that also improving, and we've got even some clinical data on it. So all good news for for folks who have cancer. I would be trying it. I don't think there's any reason not to try it.
And I haven't ever seen one study that would say that that using CBD in relation with any other type of cancer treatment, that they don't go together or produce some type of negative results from using CBD in relation with any other type of cancer treatment, any type of side effects or anything.
Shown positive results, particularly glioblastoma and some more standard anti-tumor pharma.
Yeah, but Dr. T, if I remember right, a lot of the studies have shown it's not like you can just take a ton of THC and CBD orally or through your lungs. You have to kind of locally inject it or something, or put it very close to the cancer cells on purpose.
You mean because you want to get the concentration high enough to do it? Well, either way, I mean, there are issues you're bringing up. What's the bioavailability? How much of the CBD gets into your bloodstream at what levels? Or and sometimes because we can't get enough into our bloodstream, it's more efficacious to get it closer to the tumor by injecting it close to the tumor. And they've done that with glioblastoma. They've done that. They've injected it directly into the tumor to see the shrinkage. But yeah, that's the experimenting that we have to do. How much of it? What level of it can we get into your system so that we do it?
And how to get it there.
Yeah, and how to get it there. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, isn't there two different agents that can increase its bioavailability based off the delivery mechanism, Dr. T?
Well, you can nano emulsify, so you can, basically surround it with other chemicals that helps it absorb better. That's generally what most folks do, especially the beverages, because CBD is an oil and oil doesn't mix with water, so
I feel like they need to do a study on making like CBD whole pulp orange juice with maybe like Tropicana or something, and see how that works. Because to me that would make a lot of sense.
And fortify your orange juice with CBD.
Exactly.
Fortify your milk with CBD.
The true health beverage right there. You know what I mean?
And Dr. T, are there any studies on the acid forms with this kind of thing with cancer?
Yes.
Are they more effective than the decarboxylated forms, or same? Do we know? Is there any indication of that?
Now you're having me rack my memory. I think there was a study out of Israel with colon cancer cells in a petri dish, comparing neutral to acid forms. But yeah, acid forms are known to have greater affinity for some receptors and a stronger anti-inflammatory effect. So that might be a better way to go. Also, better bioavailability than the neutral form. So what does that mean for you, the farmer or the personal gardener? It means that you take your flowers and you juice it. You put it in your smoothie and see if that works.
Well, Dr. Mark threw in the chat, he said it's angiogenic and it quenches reactive oxygenated species, pro-apoptotic and anti-inflammatory, and all those properties help fight cancer.
Yeah. So anti-angiogenic means that it stops the blood vessels from laying down and spreading the cancer. And pro-apoptotic means that it actually just kills the cells itself, which is what this study was showing. It has a lot of anti-cancer properties, both THC and CBD. We just need to know what's the best dose for what type of cancer you have. Is it a personalized formula, or is it a general formula that works for everyone? I mean, there's a lot of information to learn, more studies, basically. Yeah.
Well, since you brought that up, Dr. T, and a couple of people are commenting in the chat, if you can grow cannabis, or you have access to someone who's growing it and is using good practices as well, it needs to be organic and regenerative. They can't be pumping crappy nutrients into it and using neem oil or any kind of stuff on it. But if you can get it, what you do is take the fan leaves of a mature plant that's starting to flower, or the flowers as well once they start to get mature, and you can juice those things. And one of the best ways to do it is, because clearly you can't, the plant harvests every several months, right? Even if you have a good cycle going, it takes several months to get a good harvest in a grow room. So make ice cubes, juice a ton of it all at once, and make ice cubes and hold on to those ice cubes, and then take a couple of fresh juice ice cubes and put them in your smoothie, and you can get fresh THCA and CBDA in your diet, which is incredibly healthy for you, at least anecdotally at this point. And that's another thing. Hopefully Schedule 3 will bring some real research behind that.
The champion of this, shout out to Dr. William Courtney. He's really introduced this to us, and what a great guy. Now, what he does these days is he takes some apple juice, and he'll take those fan leaves, and he'll try to take the leaves as young as possible, because as they mature, they get more woody, and so they're harder to macerate with the apple juice. But he'll just put the apple juice and let it sit for 4 or 5 hours, and then blend it up, and then drink the apple juice in shots as a dietary supplement.
That's a good point that you bring up, Dr. T, is that the juicer does matter as well. A juice man juicer isn't going to do a very good job. Unfortunately, the best way to do it is to have what's called a triturating, masticating juicer. And they're pretty expensive. They're like $600 to $1,000 to get a really good one. And then you can use any maturity level of a leaf. It'll chew it right up, no problem.
Yeah. Otherwise, you got to pluck them when they're young and just grow a lot of them. Which you can.
I mean, I feel like this is something the cannabis industry should probably focus on making. Someone with a mechanical engineering background should focus on making a juicer specifically for fan leaves, and you can make a lot of money with that. You know what I mean?
Well, they exist, Jason.
I understand that,
They
but you got to
exist.
make, but to make it more economically feasible than $600 or $1,000, like if you can make it for like $420 out the door, you know what I mean?
You probably
Something
can
like
get
that.
one for $420.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't even have to be Black Friday. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, Jess?
Yeah.
Well, on that, we got one final story for you today on this first Friday of 2026, you guys. One more study for you, Dr. T, because a lesser known marijuana compounds like CBDV and CBG can reduce inflammation, especially when they're combined, Dr. T. A new study published by the Journal of Entheopharmacology suggests that several non-intoxicating compounds found in marijuana may have meaningful anti-inflammatory effects, particularly when combined with other components naturally present in the plant. The research was conducted by scientists from the University of Chemistry and Technology and the Academy of Sciences of the Czech Republic. Researchers examined 10 major non-psychotropic phytocannabinoids derived from cannabis sativa L, a plant long used in traditional Asian and European medicine to treat pain and inflammatory conditions. The goal was to evaluate both the individual and anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of these compounds, as well as whether they work more effectively when paired with non-cannabinoid plant matrices. What's that? Matrices, such as polar, non-polar, and terpenoid fractions. Using
macrophage differentiated THP-1 cells, the team measured inflammation by tracking the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines and activation of the NF-kB pathway, a key regulator of immune responses. All tested phytocannabinoids showed some level of anti-inflammatory activity, and cannabidiol, better known as CBDV, stood out for significantly reducing levels of IL-6 and TNF-a, while also suppressing NF-kB activation. The study also assisted antioxidant activity. Several phytocannabinoids, particularly acidic forms, Jesse, showed strong oxygen radical absorption capacity, and however, none demonstrated significant cellular antioxidant activity, which researchers attributed to limited bioavailability in the cellular model. Notably, combinations of phytocannabinoids with plant-derived matrices produced synergistic anti-inflammatory effects, and mixtures containing cannabigerol and cannabiniol were among the most potent. In a quote, they say, all tested phytocannabinoids demonstrated anti-inflammatory effects. In particular, cannabidiol, CBDV, reduced IL-6, TNF-A production, and also inhibited NF-kB activation, states the study. Several phytocannabinoids, especially their acidic forms, exhibited high oxygen radical absorption capacity, better known as ORAC, but none showed significant cellular antioxidant activity, better known as CAA, possibly due to limited bioavailability. And importantly, several phytocannabinoid matrix mixtures displayed synergistic anti-inflammatory effects with combinations containing cannabigerol, CBG, and cannabinol, CBN, being particularly potent. Researchers conclude by saying, these findings highlight the potential of lesser-known phytocannabinoids, especially in combination with specific sativa L matrix components, to modulate inflammatory pathways, supporting their development as functional ingredients for managing chronic gut-associated inflammation. Well. Look at that, Dr. T. You think it's a whole plant. It's all about the whole plant. Thank goodness. There's a carve-out in Schedule 3 for whole plant medicines, and this is what you preach all the time. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. It's good for your gut.
Yeah, we're doing a study with someone who created a formula consisting of CBDV, CBG for Parkinson's. So if anyone out there with Parkinson's, by the end of the month, we'll be providing some of this formula to see if it helps with your symptoms.
Yes.
Dr. T, are these precursor molecules, so they're in the young plant as it develops, or are these?
CBDV is there's a CBDVA, right?
Yeah.
But no, CBG is really the only precursor.
Right.
CBDV, is made from CBG. So.
Oh, okay.
I find it very, very interesting that all these compounds working all together, they're getting great results. And I didn't expect anything less, but I am really glad to see doctors finding this and documenting this, and it just thank goodness we got the whole plant carve out in the Schedule 3 executive order, because that's one of the big things that I was worried about that really had me very leery of Schedule 3, Dr. T. Very, very leery of that, and thank goodness that they made sure to keep that carve out for whole plant medicine. I know that made you really happy.
Oh yeah, that was big. And the real world evidence comments in the executive order was mentioned twice, and I think that was big too.
Yeah, it was huge, Dr. T. Huge, very huge. Yes, yeah. Any final thoughts on this, Jesse?
I mean, that's just that there's the anti-inflammatory effects of seemingly like almost all cannabinoids, right? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that they're talking about CBDV in there, and then they're saying how it's good for the gut because CBDV is known to be the dietary cannabinoid, which I wonder if CBDV actually makes you process your food faster. And that's why
I thought that was THCV.
THCV. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Yes, THCV. Yes.
But I wonder, Dr. T, it seems like a lot of times when those molecules have similar structures on the THC and the CBD side, do they go together? Do THCV and CBDV go together?
What do you mean by go together?
Like they work together? Because they kind of, if CBDV is doing something for your gut and then THCV has something, we know that it has something to do with diet, it turns on and off appetite, right?
You know, THCV is a weaker agonist to the CB1 receptor than THC. And I suspect that THCV alone, is going to give less of the munchie effect than THC alone. So that's why people are calling it the diet. It may only give that if you're taking THC along with the THCV, but if you're just taking THCV alone, you might get a little bit of the munchies, even though it's not as strong as THC in terms of that. So and a lot of my experience with effects, usually THCV alone is not what people are taking. They're combining it, with THC. The plant produces it that way normally anyway, so.
Yeah. Dr. Mark in the chat, he says, yep, the acids block an important calcium channel that reduces the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines.
Right. So, and sometimes THC can be pro-inflammatory as well as anti-inflammatory. It's a more complex picture. It's just not one straight. Yes, you get inflammation versus you don't.
So it's kind of a flip-flopper, huh, Dr. T?
Yeah, CBD is a better anti-inflammatory. It creates more anti-inflammatory effects than THC does. But they both have anti-inflammatory. CBD wins in terms of anti-inflammatory. And then again, the acidics are even better at anti-inflammatory than the neutrals.
Yeah.
And supposedly, if they go together, they're even stronger, right? Like the THCA really helps the CBDA, and they work together better than alone.
I don't know. I mean, that's what some folks are saying. Like, for example, that study that we just saw, combining they did THC dominant, so type 1, type 2, and type 3, and they said the type 2 was the better one. I think that was a pain indication. I forget the one that we just read.
Sounds like cannabis is just one big bowl of alphabet soup, Dr. T.
It is. And which kind of sleep is good for you?
Yeah.
We don't know. And that's where we go to personalization. Maybe your mom's chicken soup is better than store-bought. So that's kind of how we'll be judging the different plant types and the variability, which means that for the user, there's a lot of experimentation that needs to happen.
Which also means that
in general, Dr. T, especially for people who, like in our juicing conversation we just had, there's a lot of people in the audience who are interested in figuring that out. You would probably recommend start with a 1-to-1 type 2 cultivar varietal that is going to be good on both sides, and that's probably going to help you the best.
Actually, what I've been telling folks is to grow type 1 and type 3, and that way you've got both that you can blend to make your type 2.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. Little science experiment over there.
Why would you say that as opposed to just growing a type 2?
Because then you can start playing around with the ratio of type 1 and type 2 to see what works for you.
You can play with the mixtures.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Love it.
Fair enough.
Great advice.
Yes, Jesse, and then Dr. T. You guys have any New Year's Eve New Year's resolutions you guys want to share with the audience out there, or wish everyone a happy New Year? Jesse first, then we'll go to Dr. T, and then we'll close it out.
I'm not really a resolution guy.
Okay.
Because like we said early, most people make resolutions and then by March they've completely dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to make a resolution, I think the biggest resolution you should do is to stay consistent and make sure that you put methods in place, if it's exercise or if it's diet change or if it's something that you feel, like less drinking. A lot of people are like, I need to drink less or whatever it might be. You've got to put things in your life that help you stay disciplined and give you accountability and help you to keep on track throughout the year. So that would be my resolution is, more accountability for the things I do want to achieve, and more community around those things to help me stay on track. But other than that, let's all make more money and do better in business and have better friends and shed people who suck in our lives and improve our lives overall and have a better year than we've ever had in our lives.
Dr. T, what do you got to say, Dr. T?
Great resolution, Jesse. My resolution this year is to use more AI for good rather than evil.
Oh, there you go.
Then you should make sure you got to get a Grok subscription then, Dr. T. You know what I'm saying? Because the other ones are pretty woke.
What's a Grok? Oh, Grok is an AI.
Yeah.
I've been using Perplexity lately.
Interesting.
But I haven't tried Grok yet.
Yeah, Grok is the best. Grok has the best personality that I've found.
So that person.
Yeah. Oh, they're all people.
They definitely have personalities.
Yeah, they definitely
they're
have
programmed too.
Yeah, they're programmed too. Yes, and I have a couple of resolutions. I'm not necessarily their resolutions. I would say I'm with you, Jesse. I don't really try to make resolutions. I just try to hit measurable goals. You know what I mean? And some of those goals are to, be even more supportive of the people that I support and help out even more than I already do help out. And of course, there's a yin and the yang, and so my other goal is to piss twice as many people off as I piss off already, Jesse. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to have a problem doing that.
Yes, and on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show, patented and trademarked. Happy New Year.